All right, folks, we are back again here at Bell & Alexander Title Services, our preferred title company here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Last video, we actually got to sit down with the branch manager here, Mr. Justin Mooneyham, and learned a little bit more about what a title company does in the world of real estate and the value they bring to the table. So we're going to sit down again with Justin and get a couple title horror stories so that you can see the value of what the title company does and what the value of title insurance is in the real world, where the value lies for you as the consumer, whether you're the purchaser of the property or the seller of the property. We're gonna cover some stories that are from both sides, and yeah, so let's go ahead and head on in here and sit down with Mr. Justin Mooneyham and get started on our video today. Alright folks, in today's video we've got something a little bit different than what we normally do. So today we are here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at Bell & Alexander Title Services, our preferred title company that Chris and I primarily use. I'm here with my good friend Justin Mooneyham, who is the manager of the Murfreesboro office, and we're going to talk a little bit more today about title, about the world of title, and learn a little bit of the history of Bell & Alexander and what they do and why they are so valuable to us as agents, as well as you, the home buyer or the home seller. So jumping into it, Justin, would you mind introducing yourself to the folks just a little bit and give us a little bit of a background of how you got started in the title world and what your experience has looked like up until this point?
Absolutely. So my name is Justin Mooneyham. I've been with Bell & Alexander for 8 years now. I started in May of 2016. Got my big break by being the gentleman who said hello to the guy who runs our Manchester office, John Bell. He walked in the bank to do escrow deposits, and I always greeted him with a smile on my face, and that kind of what led me into getting a job here with Bell & Alexander. Had no idea what a deed was on my first day. Walked in completely green, knew nothing, still lived at home, had never bought a house or anything of that nature, and they taught me everything I know up until now. And so super glad to be here. I currently now run an office. I've processed files for the company for 8 years. I've done well over 5,000 transactions at this point in my career, short career, and yeah, wouldn't want to do anything else.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Fun fact, Justin and I actually were co-workers for a couple of years. If you've watched some of our previous videos, you may have seen that I mentioned that I was once in the title world. Well, I was here with Bell & Alexander. Absolutely incredible company, which is why I continue to use them today for all of my transactions, at least the transactions that I'm able to send here to Bell & Alexander. They do a phenomenal job with the transaction itself. It's always a smooth, easy transaction. Justin's got some incredible coworkers that really just go above and beyond in every instance to help us as agents get deals closed and help you as the buyer or seller get through a transaction with as little headache and as much understanding as possible. So Justin, what do you all do on a day-to-day basis in regards to real estate? What does a normal day look like for you in regards to transactions and what your role is in those transactions?
Yeah, so basically what we do as a title company is when Mark or Chris is out showing you houses and you find that perfect house that you like, you submit an offer in the form of a contract. Once that contract has been accepted by the sellers, that is when we receive that contract and get started on the file. So once you bind the contract, that is then sent to us, and that's when we start the title work. And so basically what that means is we do a 30-year title search on the property. The title search will tell us who owns the property, what liens are on the property, if taxes are paid. All of that, all the information and history of the property will be found in that title search. From there, if you're buying, we get all of the information for what is on title to your lender. We get the cost of title insurance, which we'll talk about in a minute, to your lender so they can disclose that to you. And we then handle, once we get to closing, we handle all of the signing of the documents. So some of you may see me at some point if you end up buying with Chris and Mark for the closing for your property. And then we also handle the disbursement of the funds. So we pay the sellers, we pay the agents, we pay your homeowner's insurance, the county to record everything in your name. We handle all of that. And so the way I kind of describe what we are is we're a disinterested third party of the contract. And so we do not have interest one way or the other. We simply are making sure everything is closed in accordance to the contract and that everything, all the terms of the contract are met between the buyer and the seller.
Okay, so for folks who may not have gone through this process yet, not had the experience of purchasing or selling a home, why is what you do so valuable to the consumer? You know, I see your value as an agent. I see the things that you help us with and make our lives easier. Where's the value to the client in what you do?
Yeah, so the value that we bring the client is that we protect the biggest asset you're probably ever going to purchase in your life. If you don't do title searches, if you don't, or even have a good title company doing your title searches, you could purchase property that was, fraudulently conveyed. You can purchase property that has liens on it that weren't cleared, taxes that weren't cleared, things of that nature. And so that's what we do, is we're here to make sure, at the end of the day, we are an insurance company. And so we're here to make sure that you have clear title to your home, that it was conveyed properly, and that you are the sole owner with clear title of that property.
So in layman's terms, essentially ensuring that everything is free and clear once you take ownership of the property, and you won't encounter any liabilities down the line in regards to the property.
Correct.
So that's the title side of things, right? Is there anything else we can add to the title side of things? I know it's a much broader picture than what we're looking at right now, but just a general overview.
Yeah, it is. The thing about title, especially in Tennessee, is in Tennessee you actually don't have to have attorneys to have a title company. So anybody can go out, get their title insurance license. It's just like an insurance agent that you get your car insurance through. You take a test and you become a licensed agent. And so that's a big thing here in Tennessee, is having attorneys who back the title company. So for instance, Bell and Alexander, we are individually attorney owned and operated title company. We don't have ties to lenders. We don't have ties to agents. We're individually attorney owned and operated. And so that means every file that comes through our office, an attorney is looking at that file. And so they are making decisions on that file, and that matters because you run into sometimes property with deceased people, and we're dealing with multiple heirs and stuff like that. And so it's very important to have a title company that is an attorney owned and operated.
And again, I'm that in layman's terms, that's just ensuring that the ownership of the property, your ownership of the property, won't ever come into question, and you won't encounter any type of issue throughout your ownership of the property, because these types of issues can spring up even years down the line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well, since you kind of mentioned the attorney side of things, I know Bell and Alexander isn't really the only entity. So can you tell us a little bit more about the legal side of things? Because a lot of the legal work that the attorneys here do are kind of go hand in hand with purchasing property and owning property. So can you tell us a little bit more about the legal aspect of what you do?
Absolutely. So along with having 4 attorneys on staff for the title company, they are also all associates or partners of a law firm called Bell McCann McIntyre. And so there's 6 total, actually 7 now, 7 total attorneys in our law firm. And so they practice all sorts of law, but they all kind of retain around real property. And so they do estate formation if you need wills, if you need trust or anything of that nature. They do estate formation. They do business formation, so forming LLCs, limited liability companies for you. If you're buying investment properties and need an LLC done, they do those type of things, as well as corporations. They also do business litigation, litigation in regards to real property, which that just means if you've been sued, they do lawsuits and go to court and fight over your whether you win or lose that lawsuit.
Wonderful. This may on the surface appear to be kind of a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And I love that. Chris and I love that because, again, it helps our lives be easier. It's one individual. When I have this type of need, or when a client has this type of need, I pick up the phone and call Justin Mooneyham. I pick up the phone and call Ben Seaman, one of the other owners. It really is beneficial to all parties to have everything in one place. Not only does it make a transaction more seamless and make it flow easier, it really is beneficial to everyone involved. There's fewer hands touching everything, less opportunity for mistakes to happen, and more opportunity to make sure everything goes correctly. So what can you give us a little bit of an idea? What does a normal client experience when they come to Bell and Alexander to close on a property? What does your normal closing look like?
Yeah, so once you get to closing and you come in one of our offices, I would say probably 90% of our transactions are actually closed by an attorney. So almost all of our transactions, you're going to have an attorney sitting here at the table with you. And so that plays into the one-stop shop thing, is they're sitting here, you're buying one of the biggest assets of your life, if not the biggest one you'll ever purchase. And so they're also here to a lot of people have questions about wills and about trust and about LLCs and stuff of that nature. And so they're also here to help you while you're doing that. The closings, they're relatively straightforward. You come in, you have a 120 probably page package if you're purchasing with a loan these days. And we go through that. It probably takes 30 to 40 minutes. It's pretty cut and dry. We explain all the documents to you. We are serving as a notary, but we also take pride in what we do and making sure that you understand what you are signing. And so we try to do a very good job of explaining what you're signing, what this means, what the numbers are, so you leave here feeling good about yourself and not like, I have no idea what I just signed.
Yeah, you definitely, kind of like Justin said, purchasing typically the largest asset an individual will purchase during their lifetime. You don't want to leave the closing table feeling like you need a shower. You want to leave confident and comfortable in the decision you've made, and Bell and Alexander and their staff here go a long way into making you feel that way. They do everything by the book. They give you plenty of opportunity to ask questions. A closing can happen as fast or as slowly as you want. There are closings that take 2 hours. Yeah. There are closings that take 20, 30 minutes. It just depends on your level of need, and they custom fit their services to your level of need so that ultimately you feel confident in your decision. This has been wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about title insurance, because that's something my buyers ask about on a regular basis, especially new home buyers that have never encountered it. They don't really understand the value behind it. Can you give us a little bit of your perspective as to the value and importance of having title insurance when purchasing property?
Absolutely. So title insurance, what title insurance is basically it's an indemnification contract between the underwriter, who is the insurer, and you as the home buyer. And so what that means is they are insuring you for any loss or damage that may result from the title search. And so title insurance is a one-time, one-fee thing. So when you go to purchase, you're going to see title insurance on there, and it's not the cheapest thing in the world sometimes. It's based on a rate, and it's figured off of your purchase price and your loan amount. And so it's not always the cheapest thing, but it's something that you want to have. And so the reason you want to buy title insurance is because when you have a title insurance policy, it protects your interest in the property from the day you obtain it backwards. So it is not a forward insurance, it's a backwards insurance. Now, a lot of people is like, well, you did a title search, didn't you review it? Yes, we did, but there's a lot of things that can't be found in a title search necessarily. One of those things is forged deeds. That's a often thing that's happening right now is people are fraudulently conveying property. They're forging deeds. They're conveying property they don't actually have the authority to do so. So, for instance, if you have an estate where you have a deceased individual and you have multiple heirs, there are situations where one of the heirs will fraudulently convey that property without the remainder of the heirs signing on that. And so at that point, you could have a claim. A claim is basically where you say, hey, somebody's making a claim that they own my property because you did not have all of the people sign. And so the title insurance covers missed heirs, it covers forged deeds, fraudulently conveyed property, it covers missed liens. So if we do a title search and there's humans involved. You have a searcher who is human. You have the title company who is human. And so maybe sometimes a searcher missed a lien in the title search that's against the owner or against a previous owner. It covers for those as well if it was something that was recorded prior to us closing and you purchasing your property. If there was a lien out there that was missed and we did not pay through the closing, that title insurance also covers that. And so a lot of people think title insurance is just this, hoax or whatever, and it's not. I see every day when we use title insurance to help people and to save them a lot of money. It's not always where you see on the news where somebody lost a house because they just fraudulently conveyed this property and they went to court and they lost the house. Most of it is if you buy a property and then you go to resell it a couple of years later and the seller had a mortgage, whoever they had that mortgage through is supposed to release that mortgage once they pay it off. That doesn't always happen. So the public records still show that is owed when really it's not. And so we can do, depending on the terms of that mortgage, we can actually do a indemnification process to where we say, okay, because you have a title insurance policy, we can pass this through and still write title insurance and close. Whereas if you don't have an owner's title insurance policy, we have to actually get a release for that, and that can take a very long time. Or we may not be able to get a release at all. And so it's a lot of just small, hey, we're going to write over this lien or whatever it may be that was handled on the previous transaction, just wasn't properly released. But those things matter because when you're under contract to sell your house, if it gets delayed 2 months over a release when you could have had an owner's title insurance policy for a few $100, it's kind of like, man, you're kicking yourself because you didn't buy that when you purchased it and now you're biting the bullet for it.
Yep, absolutely. And folks, we this is going to be a 2-part video today, so we're actually going to dive a little bit more into title insurance horror stories a little later today. Just so you can again see, we can talk, back and forth what the purpose of it is on paper, but until you see that applied real world, until you hear how many dollars someone has lost or how much money and time it has cost a homeowner or someone trying to sell property, it's really just not as impactful. So stick around for the second part of the video. We'll dive into those horror stories a little bit more, just so again that you can get a couple real world examples as to why title insurance is so important in these instances. Outside of that, Justin, what else would you add? What could you tell folks about the title world, about the title industry, that could be valuable for them? Because like myself, until I got into the industry, I had no idea what a title company was. I had no idea what a title company did, and I sure as heck didn't know what the value was in a title company.
Yeah, the main thing I would want to say is that the title company is the consumer's choice, and so a lot of time there's partnerships and stuff like that, and that's why you end up with a title company you're at. But at the end of the day, it is the consumer's choice. So if you're looking to purchase property, do your research. Research us. Research whoever you may want to use in the location that you're at. And make sure you do your due diligence, because having the correct title company and a good title company matters. And that's about all I can add is just make sure you do your research and choose a good title company that fits you and your needs.
Awesome. Well, folks, that is going to wrap up part 1 of our title series of videos today. Please keep an eye out. We'll definitely make sure you get a notification as long as you've clicked that notification bell, and that way you can catch the second part of this video when we kind of dive into title horror stories and what can happen to you in the real world if you choose to forego title insurance or other things like that. Remember, folks, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or schedule a personalized Zoom call with Chris and I so that we can help you make a smooth move here to Nashville, Tennessee. Until next time, I hope to see you around town soon.